Karaoke, right. Fun, right. Flashing lights, maybe a slightly off-key Bohemian Rhapsody, but um,
Uh-huh.
what if I told you that behind those flashing lights,
Yeah.
there's this whole, like, darker reality lurking?
Yeah, a reality most of us wouldn't expect, for sure.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to deep dive into today.
Right.
The underbelly of karaoke bars,
Oh,
specifically in Flushing, New York.
okay.
And we're going to be guided by this firsthand account from Sergeant Steve Lee.
Right.
He's a former undercover officer.
Searching.
And he did this YouTube interview that's, frankly, pretty shocking and disturbing.
What struck me, right off the bat, listening to Sergeant Lee, was how it wasn't just like isolated incidents, right?
Right.
It seemed like he was describing a whole system,
Yeah.
a structure designed to exploit.
And the big part of this structure that he talks about is this thing called the mommy system.
Yeah.
And, you hear mommy, you think nurturing.
Right, exactly.
But in this context, it's really chilling.
Totally. It's way more insidious than, like, the traditional idea of pimping, right?
Yeah.
These mommies operate within the karaoke bar.
Right.
So it creates this illusion of family almost,
Yeah,
which makes it harder to spot the exploitation
absolutely.
because it blurs the lines between companionship and then something much, much darker.
Yeah, and he talks about these public relations girls, the PRs, that work in these bars.
Right.
And it's kind of, you get the sense that some of them know what they're getting into,
Right.
but a lot of them are drawn in with promises of legitimate work
Of course, yeah.
and then find themselves kind of trapped.
Yeah, and that's where it gets really complicated, right?
Yeah.
Because while Sergeant Lee suggests that some of these PRs might engage in prostitution,
Right.
he's careful to say it's not always clear-cut.
Right.
Like, the system is designed to exploit.
Right.
But the individual experiences of these women can be really varied.
And often shrouded in like layers of coercion.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's like they're stuck in this web and these mommies are controlling their earnings, their movement,
Right.
sometimes even their passports.
It's awful. And to make matters worse, Sergeant Lee alleges that corrupt police officers are often involved,
Yeah.
turning a blind eye, or, even worse, actively covering it up.
He talks about this one specific incident that really got to me.
Okay.
A young woman reports being drugged and raped by a customer at one of these karaoke bars.
Oh, God.
And then guess what?
What?
The case just disappears,
Wow.
vanishes.
After a high-ranking officer gets involved, according to Lee,
That's right.
so he strongly suggests that the owner, maybe knowing this customer was a regular, someone with influence,
Right.
probably paid off some corrupt officers to make it go away.
Wow.
Protect his business,
At any cost.
Yeah.
And what I thought was really chilling was that Sergeant Lee admits that during his time undercover, he accepted a $10,000 bribe to shut down a competitor.
Wow. See that? To me, that's what highlights how deep this corruption goes.
It runs deep.
It's not just about a few bad apples.
Right.
It suggests a whole network of complicity
Right.
that allows this exploitation to just continue unchecked.
Yeah, you start to see how it all ties together, this web of exploitation, corruption, silence. It's horrifying.
It's a nightmare. Yeah, it's almost like these karaoke bars become like a hub
Right.
for all sorts of criminal activity.
So it's not just about the mommies and the PRs then.
No, it goes way beyond that.
Oh.
Sergeant Lee talks about extortion, gambling dens,
Right.
drug deals,
Yeah.
all happening under the cover of this, like, seemingly innocent karaoke bar.
It's crazy how that works, how you just like wouldn't suspect it.
Right. Totally hidden in plain sight.
And then it gets, this is where it gets really dark, really heavy.
Yeah.
He starts talking about human trafficking.
Right. The karaoke bar becomes not just a place of exploitation, but a way in.
It's like a trapdoor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He describes how these girls, a lot of times from other countries,
Right.
they're lured over with promises of modeling jobs.
Yeah, a better life.
Exactly.
Which is what they're looking for.
They arrive full of hope, and the first thing that happens is their passports are taken.
Oh, God.
Their dreams are just shattered.
And they're trapped.
They're completely trapped. Isolated, controlled.
Yeah. Terrified. He talks about threats being made
Oh, yeah.
against them and their families.
Absolutely. To keep them silent.
If they speak out, it's over.
It's a system that's designed to break them down.
Yeah.
Eliminate any hope of escape.
It's easy to hear these stories and think, oh, that happens somewhere else.
Yeah.
But what gets me is that this is happening here.
Right.
In our communities.
Here in the U.S.
Hidden in plain sight.
And the scariest part is,
Yeah.
we might not even know it.
Because who expects this?
Exactly.
I had a karaoke sign,
Right. You think, Flashing lights, fun times,
Exactly.
good music, right?
Yeah, it's a good time.
But it's a reminder that things aren't always what they seem.
And that's why this is such an important story.
I agree. Because we need to know.
We have to confront these realities, see the darkness that's lurking there.
Because if we don't acknowledge it,
Yeah,
we can't fix it.
exactly. We can't address it.
So where do we even begin? What do we do with this? It feels kind of overwhelming, to be honest.
Yeah, it's easy to feel powerless,
Yeah.
but we're not completely helpless.
Right.
This isn't just a warning,
Yeah.
It's a call to action.
Okay, so what can we do?
Awareness is key.
Okay.
The more people who know the signs, the better.
Like what kind of signs? What should we be looking for?
It's about trusting your gut.
Okay.
Do the people working there seem uncomfortable?
Right.
Like they're being watched, controlled?
Right.
Are there inconsistencies in their stories, their ages?
Right.
These things might seem small,
Yeah.
but they add up.
They paint a picture.
Exactly.
And then what? Let's say you do notice something.
Right.
Who do you contact?
There are organizations, hotlines.
Law enforcement agencies specifically trained for this.
Okay, so it's about knowing who to call, basically.
Exactly, and supporting them.
How do you mean?
Donating, volunteering, raising awareness.
Giving a voice to the voiceless.
Exactly.
Shining a light into the darkness.
That's it.
This has been really eye-opening.
It makes you think twice about those places we don't think twice about,
Yeah, like karaoke bars. You just don't expect this kind of darkness.
Why exactly?
Lurking beneath the surface.
It reminds us that the world can be a much darker place than we realize.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is a reminder to stay vigilant.
Absolutely.
Trust your gut.
Trust your gut and never underestimate the impact you can have by speaking up.
Because you never know.
You could be the one to make a difference.
That's right. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, stay curious, but stay vigilant.